In Memoriam, a tribute to James Earl Jones, the prolific voice that captivated generations. On September 9th, 2024, the world lost a film legend, known the world over for his voice, charisma, and unrivaled presence on stage and screen. James Earl Jones was one of the most versatile and decorated actors in modern film history. He was an EGOT, one of the select few talented performers to have achieved the quadruple crown of performing arts, as well as the recipient of numerous other awards, including a National Medal of Arts, a Kennedy Center honor, and a Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award. His awards cabinet was well stocked, but the legacy he leaves behind as a catalyst for change in the entertainment industry and the booming voice of some of cinema's most memorable characters is what will stick with all who got to witness his work on stage and screen.
Let me guess. You like Star Wars.
From childhood to the Army. James was born in Archbeutel, Mississippi in 1931, but at the age of 5 was living with his grandparents in Dublin, Michigan. You'd never know it based on his eventual career, but the traumatic move and difficult home life he endured meant James developed a stutter and refused to speak for all but the entirety of his childhood. In high school, an English teacher finally got James to come out of his shell by encouraging him to share his poetry with his class. In 1949, James graduated from Dixon Rural Agricultural School in Brethren, Michigan, and decided to pursue a pre-med degree at the University of Michigan. Rockets,
red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
While at UM, James joined the ROTC program as the Korean War escalated. In his junior year, he decided to shift his focus to a drama degree so he could do something he loved before he assumed he'd be shipped off to overseas upon graduation. Fortunately, he was never deployed to an active war zone, but he did become a ranger and served in a training corps for a short time in Colorado. After his discharge from the service, he returned to Michigan to complete his Bachelor of Arts in Drama.
I said, Lord, if you can, save me from that man. Don't let him make a pulp out of me.
Early acting career. Straight out of university, Jones worked as a stagehand and carpenter at the Romsdale Theater in Manistee, Michigan. 2 years later, he was acting and stage managing productions. His role as Othello in his very first season on stage in 1957 foreshadowed where he would find success in the coming years. As part of Shakespeare in the Park in New York City in the early 60s, Jones became one of the best-known American Shakespearean actors of the time, regularly taking on the roles of Othello, King Lear, Oberon, Abhorsen, and Claudius in the works by the great English playwright. If you've ever heard his voice, I'm sure you can imagine his basso monologues in these huge commanding roles.
That's why he is, and that's what I'm getting. And I'm gonna get it the same saying, yes or no, say it don't matter what I do. Men now, you understand?
Jones acted off-Broadway in the 60s too, but it was a Shakespeare in the Park production that earned him his first film credit. Stanley Kubrick attended a performance of The Merchant of Venice, planning to cast one of Jones's co-stars for his next film, but ended up bringing Jones onto the project as well. Meaning James Earl Jones' first film credit was Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, in 1964, an incredible screen debut. This was just the beginning of a long, legendary career in film.
B. C. D.
The films you know and love. But Jones loved the stage and continued to act on Broadway and around the country in both Shakespearean and contemporary works. In 1967, Jones played Jack Jefferson in Howard Sackler's The Great White Hope, which eventually moved to Broadway in 1968. Sackler subsequently won a Pulitzer Prize for his writing, and Jones earned a Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play. Reprising his role in the film version earned him the second ever nomination of a black actor for the Academy Awards for Best Actor in 1970. Between the stage and the film iteration of The Great White Hope, Jones worked on test screenings for a groundbreaking children's show, a little program called Sesame Street. Though episodes featuring Carol Burnett were the first to air, Jones was the first celebrity to record with Jim Henson's Muppets and helped make the show what it is today. In the early 70s, Jones remained booked and busy on Broadway, playing in King Lear, a revival of The Iceman Cometh, and the 1974 Brooks Atkinson adaptation of Mice and Men. He also co-starred alongside Deanna Carroll in Claudine, a romantic comedy that illustrates the struggles of a black woman and the many relationships she attempts to foster in her life, for which both of them earned Golden Globe nominations.
He told me you killed him.
No, I am your father.
Finally, it's 1977, and Star Wars catapults George Lucas and a host of other actors to fame. Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, saves the galaxy from the evil Darth Vader, who was portrayed on set by David Prowse, but voiced in post by James Earl Jones. As he thought of his contributions as just special effects, Jones was uncredited in the first two Star Wars films, but finally accepted credit for his work in The Return of the Jedi and his subsequent appearances. To say he was perfect for Star Wars is an understatement. I dare say those films would never have been so popular had it not been for his incredible, dominating voice. Lucas made the right call dubbing over Prowse's very English accent, ensuring audiences would perceive Vader as a force to be reckoned with and not just another sci-fi space villain. Plus, it enabled one of the greatest twists in film history to remain a secret from even the cast present on set up until the premiere of The Empire Strikes Back. The 80s and 90s represent back-to-back Grand Slam performances for Jones, including, but not limited to, Conan the Barbarian, Eddie Murphy's Coming to America, Field of Dreams alongside Kevin Costner, The Hunt for the Red October, Patriot Games with Harrison Ford, The Sandlot, Clear and Present Danger, and of course The Lion King as the lion, Mufasa. In this stretch of his career, Jones won 2 Primetime Emmys in the same year, one for Best Actor in Gabriel's Fire and another Best Supporting Actor in Heat Wave. He is one of only 9 people to have ever managed this feat and is the only man on that list.
Ask me some damn fool-ass question like that. Talking about liking somebody. Come here, boy, when I talk to you.
The turn of the century and beyond. Jones returned to Broadway in the early 2000s, acting in tons of productions, including On Golden Pond, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Driving Miss Daisy, during a West End performance of which Ben Kingsley presented Jones with an honorary Academy Award, The Best Man, You Can't Take It With You, and The Gin Game through the 2010s. Jones made many memorable guest appearances in beloved shows like The Simpsons and The Big Bang Theory, and remained a constant presence in film and television. In 2019, he reprised his role as Mufasa in the Lion King CGI remake, and in 2021, he came back to play King Jaffe Joffer in Coming to America, the sequel to the Eddie Murphy classic. This would be his last film credit. It's impossible to know what the movie industry would look like if James Earl Jones had never come along, but I'd hate to see that reality. Jones's work was groundbreaking and will continue to enrapture audiences for generations to come. He never lost his passion for the stage, the place that his career took off, and it showed in all of his roles. Aspiring creatives should strive to achieve the love of craft Jones exhibited throughout his career, but his legacy will remain unmatched. Oh, now, forever, farewell.